I had to restart Science in the AM. Just so you know, in a quick recap, this class, we reviewed mitosis steps from the other day. Make sure you know that. We're going over the terms from asexual reproduction, page 18 through 23 in the textbook. We've taken notes on them, and then we're watching some videos. For binary fission, we watch a quick video, but you can always just YouTube, just do a quick search of binary fission, see what you get. Same with budding. We watched a quick video of that, and we've examined a few different videos of parthenogenesis right now, and we've also taken the notes out of the textbook, the bold terms. Right now, we're going to just take a quick look at a video. Or was it? Oh, that was a YouTube video. There we are. Aphid cloning.
One very formidable insect plays its double card with a plant. This green aphid is populating the world with herself. She's a virgin, and cloning herself, she produces a genetically identical daughter every 20 minutes.
Pretty fast. She's not doing that 24/7.
The babies even have babies inside them. So the mother aphid nurtures her granddaughters even before they're born. Such prolific clones bent solely on breeding are easy pickings for others. This solitary wasp is laying her eggs in the aphid's body, and they are a feast for voracious ladybirds. Half the clones are born with wings to accelerate their expanding empire. They disperse in the summer air to colonize neighboring plants. During the good times when plants are growing, each aphid races to copy herself. Males have no place and don't exist.
Oh boy.
Until later, when autumn draws near. Now the females suddenly switch to producing orange-colored babies. Some will be males. She engineers sex into her offspring because the coming seasons are unpredictable. The next summer might be very different from the one in which she was born. To copulate, the aphids fly off to fruit trees. And when they mature, the females lose their wings, and the males turn as rampant as any red deer stag. Because they have dispersed, it's very likely that the mating partners come from different clones. Having sex with your own clone is the most useless sex imaginable.
Because it would be an identical copy, which is just a
By
clone.
opting for sex, the female aphid is cannily exploiting males from other clones to inject a bit of variety into her line when the future is uncertain. Her eggs will overwinter, and as the conditions next spring are unpredictable, she has produced a brood of dormant embryos which all differ from each other. Some are bound to survive. Genetic variability is a weapon to battle with environmental changes. In a perfect and stable world, it's likely all females of all species would prefer to clone. But getting rid of males is difficult once they're there.
Sounds like a metaphor for. Now that video also brought something up that we're going to discuss a little later on, but asexual reproduction produces clones, identical clones. And then the sexual reproduction, as they mentioned over the winter and stuff, never know what the conditions are the next spring, so they need some variation, and that provides genetic variation the next year. We'll get into that. Now, the video, I'm just talking to the people on there. We, some reason it got cut off and I had to restart, so we don't have as much detail. But the next thing that we look at in the textbook is the spores. They're haploid cells that have half the regular chromosome number. I'm going to just flip to the textbook for a second here. We'll take a quick look at that together. Spores. Now, this isn't animals. Many fungi, green algae, some molds, and non-flowering plants such as ferns reproduce by producing spores. Now, spores are haploid cells that can develop into new organisms. Now, write that down, but I don't know if that means a lot to you right now. So we're going to talk about it. So, okay. So first, write down spores are haploid cells that can develop into new organisms. We have a word there that, not sure. Now, I'm going to flip back to the slideshow thing. What you're going to add after that sentence is, what are haploid cells? Well, haploid cells have half the regular chromosome number. You can't produce a human with half the regular chromosome. But if you could, the diploid or diploid condition 2, they're paired. We have 46 chromosomes, 23 pairs. If we produced a human with the haploid number, they would have half, just 23, no pairs. So can you add that into what you have already for spores? Haploid cells have half the regular number of chromosomes. And then just add that in. That's handwritten, so I know you guys don't like my handwriting. Well, some do. I think. Thank you. I knew some do. Okay? I'm going to just write it and type it. Going to move that way to read it. There's the same thing that's in handwriting. I typed it up. For those of you who don't appreciate my crazy handwriting. Anyways, I have a picture there of a mushroom, a fungi, with spores kind of animated there. But if you have a plant called a fern, underneath fronds and stuff like this, we won't get into the ferns. Underneath the leaves, sometimes take a look if you have a fern in your house. Look under the underside, and you might see bumps on some of them. That's the spores. So they're kind of like seeds, but they're different genetically. That's why I brought that up. If you have a fern plant, that's a possibility. There's no exciting video for this. Exciting. I don't know if any of them are exciting. Okay. I'm going to switch back to the textbook. Okay. So I left off where I said copy this down. Spores are haploid cells that can develop into new organisms. Production of offspring through spores is similar to parthenogenesis because both processes produce offspring from haploid cells. However, parthenogenesis involves unfertilized eggs. Spores, on the other hand, are not sex cells, but simply haploid reproductive cells. They cannot be fertilized to produce offspring. Spores are similar to seeds in that they protect the DNA of the organism against unfavorable environmental conditions. The spores remain in a state of suspended animation. They're alive, but they don't grow until environmental conditions such as temperature, sunlight levels, or water levels are suitable for growth. One individual will produce many spores, and each spore can develop into a new individual. Okay? So, most likely you've heard of spores from fungus and fern plants. Now, this is kind of interesting, I thought. Usually because you might have seen some of this. I grew up on a farm and stuff. My mom gardened, my grandparents gardened, and stuff like this. So I was kind of aware of this stuff I hadn't thought about. Vegetative reproduction. Most plants are able to reproduce through vegetative reproduction. Now, there's the bold word. You could skip out the scientist thing when you're drawing this down. Vegetative reproduction is the asexual production of identical offsprings or clones from parent plants. It does not involve the formation of a seed. So those plants have an option, like I said with a potato earlier, right? Or the video got cut off. There are many forms of vegetative reproduction. If you take a cutting from a coleus plant, I don't know that plant actually, place it in water, the cutting will grow and eventually develop into a whole new plant. But you could probably think of other plants where you could take a slip or a cutting. What plants can you do that with? You guys aware of this? Have you ever heard of somebody saying, I'll get you a slip? Or nobody? A geranium? Heard of geraniums, right? Okay. Other forms of vegetative reproduction use specially modified stems. Many plants, such as strawberries or spider plants, grow modified stems that run horizontally over the ground. Spider plants, you guys are aware of? Right. Okay. They go crazy, and you have to slow them down and weed them out. Strawberries are the same if you have them out in your garden area. They will, you'll see a little stem go over, and I had a video, and I'll see. Yeah, I'm not aware of that. Anyways, they're called runners, and they produce new plants along their length. Now, that picture isn't the best, but let's just see here if I still have that video. Pause here. That's a little loud, isn't it? I don't know why that one's so loud. Okay. And I'm trying to make it big. Okay, we'll try it again. Just to see the runners is the whole purpose of this.
I want to show you my strawberry plants, and I have some flowers coming up, strawberry soon. But what I wanted to show you was these runners that we have coming off of here. And I really don't care too much about the strawberry production this year, and I'll tell you why. I had a strawberry plant this time. I used to have 4. And this one just died for some reason, and I have no idea. But we had runners starting to come off, especially this one. And if you see, I have taken the runner right there. It had run off here. I placed it in the ground. It's actually running some more. And if you just take those runners, I just set this one down in there, and place them in the ground, they will start a new plant.
That's all. I just want to show you what they look like. Because often people have things like strawberries, they don't pay attention and stuff like this. But that's, if you take a look next spring or something, if you're aware of strawberries in someone's yard, look for the runners. And they're actually good because they cover the ground and they're not weeds, and actually you can get some strawberries out of them too. So I used to have in a different house that I lived on. I had strawberries growing up against the side of the house, and it worked really well because we got strawberries as well. Okay. Then, rhizomes are similar to runners, except they grow underground. So strawberries, how about raspberries? That's where those are. Rhizomes have nodes from which the new individual can grow. So it's sort of like a horizontal runner root underground. Stuff like this. Recall a quick science activity. Well, we only talked about it. About a potato. And it grows into a new individual. The potato is an example of a tuber. Tubers and bulbs, such as onions or tulip bulbs, irises, stuff like that, also are also forms of vegetative reproduction. I don't know if you've ever looked at tulip bulbs, or if you even know what I'm talking about. Some people call things corms, too. New individuals develop from a piece of a tuber or a bulb, and they kind of look like a skinny-ish potato. Now, I'm just thinking here, fragmentation and so on, we won't bother right now. But I want to just go over, because of this, if you were on the recording before the first recording that didn't work out, we talked about binary fission. We watched a video. You can just Google that up. Parthenogenesis. We watched quite a few videos of that. Happens with bees, ants, and even reptiles and stuff like this, so larger animals. We watched a few videos with that. Spores, and that's where we joined in. Okay. I'm going to stop the video real quick.